Okay, while we're still waiting for people to come in, Teddy, do you want to give us a bit of an anecdote about maybe the worst pitch that you had so far?
Well, usually, actually, we have a lot of that kind of experience. People come to us and simply with one page of A4 paper and just a few words and try to tell us their idea, and without any market analysis, without any execution plan. And that is the problem. They don't have any info about from the market and simply just present their idea to us and want us give them the advice and tell them if it's a sound business model or not. That basically every day, because we have our website, people can submit their proposal to us. Yeah, at least I would say 10 to 20% of our proposal received, just like those idea. We would say there's a dreams, but they're dreams, not even a business idea. Yeah.
So you had, yeah. So do you, does your team look through all of the pitch decks and do you actually tell them it's a bad idea, or do you just not get back to them?
That's impossible to talk to every people that submit the proposal to us, and we will select some proposal and try to share our experience and give them some idea if there's any alternative they can go for, or some of them would tell them strictly that they better figure out other projects to do. Yeah, because there's a lot of failed cases outside already. Yeah. Maybe we are trying our best to talk to as many as possible, but usually maybe 20 to 25% of those people that submit the proposal to us, we have a chance to talk to them. Sometimes virtually, sometimes face to face. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I see that already a lot of people that are dialed in, and there's still a few joining, but being respectable to everybody's time, let's just start right now. So we're recording this session also, and I'm uploading it later. So we'll be sending everybody that joined today or signed up the link to the recording, and also a pitch deck template that we created. So you have a framework for your pitch, so you don't send Teddy an A4 pager of your pitch in the future. So welcome everybody, and in case you wonder who am I, my name is Belinda Esterhammer. I'm the Director of Innovation of The Do. The Do helps companies be more purposeful and transform themselves and be 21st century ready. So we also have W Lab as our co-host, and of course Alibaba Entrepreneurs Fund, which we're going to get into in a second. So W Lab is a community for the people in Hong Kong to really co-create a happy and healthier Hong Kong. So we do that around really bringing people together and discussing how a smart and healthy city should look like. So by signing up today also, you're going to be kept in the loop also what's going on in the future at our lovely innovation space in North Point. So welcome, Teddy. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us more about what you do?
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Belinda, for your invitation. And it's great to talk to people that with innovative ideas. Yeah, and this is Teddy from Alibaba Entrepreneurs Fund. I'm the operation director of the fund. Maybe I can share one single slide that let you have better understanding of our fund. Sorry, it's a bit slow. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Good. The fund was set up almost 6 years ago in 2015. And actually, this is an idea initiated by Mr. Jack Ma himself. He always believed Hong Kong is a very good location to become a startup hub not just for China, but it's for the region, for all the countries, the overseas countries that would like to tap into China market. Hong Kong could be a very good place for them to settle in first. And also it's a perfect place to helping those companies from mainland China to expand their business outside of Greater China. And of course, we are also supporting the local startup ecosystem. Hopefully we can contribute a bit to make it stronger and more dynamic. And traditionally, Hong Kong is very good at those professional services, but at the same time, we would like to make it more innovative and become a startup hub for those innovative companies, for those young people who would like to try their business ideas. Yeah, and we start this fund with 1 billion Hong Kong dollar. Is talking about 130 million US dollar, and our mandate is helping the local Hong Kong related startup first. Yeah, but we also consider to invest in those companies from China and overseas, as long as they have a future plan to expand their business or relocate to Hong Kong. And we will also consider to invest in those companies. And our fund is quite unique and quite different from other VC fund. And it's a not-for-profit initiative. It's an evergreen fund. We are financially independent from Alibaba Group. Of course, our money from our group, yeah, but we are independent. And if we are doing good, we have the investment return from our over 50 portfolio companies investments. Then we will power back those returns to the fund. And ultimately, we would like to getting a bigger fund size, a bigger capital pool to helping more startups, to support more startups in the future. And at the same time, we are not just focusing on investment. We try to promote the entrepreneurship in Hong Kong and promote Hong Kong as a startup hub to other countries. Like we have a lot of local partners in US, Canada, UK, in other countries in Europe, of course, in many different cities in China as well. And also, every year we have a very we will say it's a signature startup event in Hong Kong. It's Jumpstarter. That is a global pitch competition, and we welcome everyone with their innovative ideas to join this competition, no matter where you're from. And it's not just a competition. We'll say this is a platform that we let the startup companies, investors from the world, different part of the world, mainly from China and Southeast Asia, and also the corporates, a lot of MNC to join us. It's like a platform for everyone to mingle, because we believe the startup company not just need the capital investment, but they also need business opportunities. Yeah. And also we are running an AI lab to support the AI related startup companies in Hong Kong. And every month we also hold a session. It's a we call it venture hours. Every month we open 10 to 12 time slots online, so people can try to of course on the first come first serve basis, so people can reserve those time slots to talk to us, talk to our investment manager, no matter how early is your company, how young is your company, how innovative is your ideas. Yeah, we would love to talk to different people, and that's the way we try to interact with the startup community. Yeah. And of course, we also have a lot of initiative to engage the young people in Hong Kong to promote the innovation, to promote the entrepreneurship to the young generation in Hong Kong as well. Yeah, and now we have over 50. Now it's over 56. We have 56 investments we have made in past almost 6 years. Yeah, and we're expecting a few of them will go IPO before end of this year. Yeah. And if you have any question about the AEF, you can share with me during the Q&A session later.
Thank you so much, Teddy. And I think I also want to add the next venture hours. We are actually going to co-hosting together next Thursday here at WLab in Hong Kong. So if you are a property or smart city tech startup, get in touch with us. We still have a few slots available, so you can chat to Alibaba and some other really amazing experts in the property and smart city field. So you will also receive an email afterwards where we share more information. But with that being said, let's just dig right in. And if you have any questions, thank you also for submitting them already when you sign up to the event. We'll try to cover a lot of them, most of them we will. And if you have any additional questions, feel free to pop them. But yeah, we're really gonna make this interactive. So before we jump into asking Teddy more questions around his worst pitch and all of that, let's quickly jump through the anatomy of a pitch and actually, the basics. How should your pitch deck look like? And this is just gonna be a really short and comprehensive presentation. Of course, we can't go through everything in detail in this short amount of time. You will also receive a template that we'll send out to you by email this week with actually a deck. So yeah, hope you're gonna enjoy it. So yeah, a pitch deck template. So I think just about me, I've seen a lot of pitches in the past years with my work as a startup weekend facilitator and running hackathons and all of that, and also having had to pitch my own company in the past before I joined the Do. So yeah, I've seen my fair share of good, but also of pitches that could have been improved. So things before we jump right in that I wanted to clarify that there are two different kind of pitch decks. So one of them is the pitch deck that you use on a pitch day. So for example, say you present at a hackathon or you present at a large event. This is basically the pitch deck where you pitch a great story that you can use for months. And then there's also the investor decks for meetings. So if you're going to set up a meeting with Teddy, for example, this is the deck that you leave behind for your investors. And of course, this is much more comprehensive and deals with different details, because with the pitch day one, you're really looking to capture an audience. And yeah, so today in this presentation, I'm going into the pitch day framework. And with Teddy, we're going to later talk more about the investor pitch deck, where we can use his amazing expertise. So in terms of basic pitch day framework, you need to tell a story. So your deck really needs to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and an arc. And usually it starts with a hook. So I know probably a lot of you heard about, these pitches where somebody comes on stage and they're like, have you ever dealt with this issue? Or for example, my friend Susan, she suffers from this and this. So this is basically how people want to get you in with a hook, but don't make it cringy. And we've all heard our fair share. So only come in with this arc if it's a good one and if it's necessary. Else, rather skip it. But what it definitely needs to have is, in terms of story, a beginning, middle, and end. And it needs to be easily understandable. I always say, if you can tell it to your parents or your grandma and they understand it, then people will really understand it. So this is just a funny example on a good beginning, middle, and end. So my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father, prepare to die. I'm sure bonus points if you know what movie this is from. So his guide to networking success is, he started with a polite greeting, name, a relevant personal link, and also he managed expectations. But moving forward from this funny anecdote, you really need to focus on the right stuff in your pitch deck. It's really important you know what you want to say and how. You listen and adjust, and also less is more. You don't need to overwhelm everybody with too much text on your slide or pictures or all of that. Little is more. And please also don't lie. Don't exaggerate your numbers. Investors will ask you on that, and they will be easily detecting if you really fluff up, your stuff. And your goal is really to build up trust. And showing progress is much more important than saying like, oh, we're going to be the next unicorn in the next year. So in terms of story, find your story spine. Think of a fishbone. It is the major thread throughout the pitch, and it is what you hang everything else on. So again, really think of that story and how you can really translate your company into the story and the story spine. And next up, practice, practice, practice. Practice makes it perfect. Every day, run through the full pitch live. Do it in front of your friends, in front of your family, in front of your grandparents. Use your team. Do it in a mirror every time. Have somebody wake you up in the middle of the night and pitch. You should have performed it more than 40 plus times before you pitch it on stage or to investors. And even if you pitch it to your friends, really act like if it were the real deal. So what's the best structure for any talk? So outline. So start with a hook. Why should I listen to the rest? Really capture them with something interesting. Then go into the problem. What's actually the issue that your company is trying to solve? And then go into the solution. Again, your unique value is everything that people want to hear. And then go into the traction and what you know so far. How big is the market size? And then also how big is the market? A little dreaming is fine, especially if you think about the future, but please don't make it unrealistic and really try to, keep your feet on the ground. And also then talk about why is your company the best to solve this issue. Talk about the team. What's the knowledge that's behind this, and also your passion. And then also you ask, are you asking for investments, customers, partnerships? Is close with a call to action. So that's really a basic outline of every pitch. And how also furthermore this should look like is really that you should really start by making your audience care. So again, if we think about the hook, make them care. Use a relatable example or an intriguing idea. They don't want to hear something that nobody can relate to, or just a tiny percentage can relate to. Think about something that people really have dealt with. Explain your idea clearly and with conviction. You should really get to the point in telling, this is the problem and this is our solution. Don't fluff it up by using too many buzzwords. Keep it short and sexy so that people actually understand it. Describe your evidence and also how and why your idea could be implemented. It's really important to back your problem and also your solution up by numbers. Investors look for, have you done your research? Have you talked to people? Is this actually a problem, or are you making up a problem that's not a real problem? And also end by addressing how your idea could affect your audience if they were to accept it. Talk about, and again, be realistic. Like, nobody accepts you to change the world with one idea, but talk about in terms of numbers. This is the percentage, for example, in Hong Kong that could adapt this idea, that could adapt this service, that could buy this product in the next 5 years. This could be our global market. And again, back it up by numbers that when investors ask you, you could actually justify and explain. So the primary goal of your talk is really to communicate an idea effectively. You really want to get your point across. So in terms of the deck prep, and then we're already gonna go into a conversation with Teddy, build the deck only after your framework is locked in. So all these points that I just showed you, think about them first before you go into your deck. This is something that, don't start in the middle. Think about the beginning, middle, and end. Think about what goes into, because else you're gonna spend so much more time, and it's also gonna look much more clumsy. So so minimize text volume. A picture is worth more than 1,000 words. I know you're probably like, why are you telling me these things? These things are really logical to me. You probably could not guess how many bad presentations Teddy sees on a daily basis. So, and again, big text, big bullet points is so much more worth than text. Nobody wants to read through, essays. Keep it short and simple. It's basically like an executive summary, or like your HR, like your CV that you send in to apply for your jobs. People are only going to spend several seconds or minute on looking through it, and you really need to get your most important points across. So display data. Don't present something without any numbers on there, because then everybody would think like, have you done research? Have you talked to people? Have you analyzed the market? So, and also if you display data, make sure you can talk about it. And also sometimes the best chart is no chart. If it's something confusing that you have trouble explaining, don't display it and rather just display some key figures. So, guidelines, practice, 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 then create a pace, smile, pause, and breathe. This is not a marathon when you're presenting your company. Yeah, smile at your investors. They're not gonna eat you up for breakfast, maybe for dinner. But yeah, smile, pause, and breathe, and keep a pace and keep them interested and give them a bit of time to reflect. Don't repeat what's on your slides. So that's why the best way on your slides, just to keep a few bullet points. Nobody wants you to read from your slides, else they could just do it themselves. And from your presentation, 20% should be silent. Silence is key. Give them, again, time to reflect and really think about the things. And also silence is a powerful tool. Don't forget to make eye contact and also tell a story and not statistics. And again, be authentic. Nobody wants to buy into a company or something where they don't think that the co-founders or the team behind it is trustworthy. So be the most authentic version of you. And again, now we're going into Q&A. So are there any questions around this? And we can already go into a conversation now with Teddy. So Teddy, what do you have to add on this?
Before I answer the questions, I would like to share a few key points. Because all VC or venture capitalists have a set of criteria and help us to evaluate a business or a project before we making investment. That help us to make sure that we are making sound investments. Okay, and of course, always good to have a full set of the presentation deck, pitch deck, include all the information, include all the necessary elements inside. But you can imagine most of the investors, they need to review maybe 20, 40, or even more business proposal in a day, especially for those pitching events. We need to communicate with more than 20 or 30 companies within 1 or 2 hours. Okay, and that's quite challenging, I would say. And so every time, personally, I would look into 4 key elements to decide if we should follow on that specific presentation or the business proposal. And the first thing, you can tell your story, make it more interesting. That's good, but you need to know why investors sitting there, why they want to hear to your presentation. It's because we are day by day, we're looking for the potential deal flows, quality deal flows, to make our investment. Okay, and so the first thing I would suggest you to do during a pitch, the first sentence, the first line, you should make a very strong statement about your value proposition and what is your uniqueness. Okay, and that will draw the investors' attention to listen more carefully in the first place. Okay, that is very critical. You can follow up with others, the story why you start this project, why you pick this area to start your business. That is good, but always make a strong statement. Don't spend the first few minutes to share your idea how is the market, what would be the potential. No, it's about your value proposition and uniqueness. Okay, why you are making a difference. No matter it's solving a problem, create something new, innovative, what is your differentiation? What is your uniqueness? That is the first thing we're always looking for. Okay, I can tell if I look into 100 proposals, at least 20 to 40%, they look almost the same. Okay, and when you ask me the next day, most of them I will forget. Yeah, that is the reality. Okay, so make a very strong statement. Okay, to introduce your uniqueness. And the second thing is that don't be complicated. Just briefly introduce your products, your service, your solution. How do those solutions can bring the value to your target market, target users? Okay, just get it straightforward. What kind of commercial value those product or solution can generate? Okay, and that's very straightforward. Okay, and of course, you can tell more details about probably you have the existing users, clients, what is their feedback, what is their comments, but never always mention the good side. Okay, you need to know there's always something to improve and share that with your investor too. Okay, that means you are open and transparent with the audience. Okay, and the third thing is the growth potential. It's talking about the market you're focused on, why you have the potential, okay, and what is the market condition, what will be your competitor, okay, how will you scale up your business in this specific market, okay, and the last thing, you need to let those investors know how you tap into that market. It's all about go-to-market strategy. No matter how good your product is, that is a key, how you introduce your product to the market. Okay, so that is critical. The last thing I would say is the team. As an investor, we are not just invest in business. Most of the time, we invest in people. Okay, if we find some people with great talent, great potential, we always believe that they can fail one time, they can fail twice, but as long as they have the determination, the passion, they will be successful one day. Okay, so team is the key, and that will, you just tell the investor why you're the best one to execute your business idea, not anyone else. So these four key elements is always personally, and most of my fellow investors, they look into these four areas first. If you can make me interested in your business model or your business idea with these four key elements, probably I'm not going into details for the rest of your proposal. Yeah, and that is my advice. And it's good, Belinda have mentioned that the practice, but one thing is equally important is preparation. Every time when you go to present or go to a pitch, you know, most of the time, you know who is your target audience. Okay, you know who is your potential investors. Do more research. For me, take me as an example. I was the general manager of Taobao and Alipay in Hong Kong and Macau area. So if I'm your potential investor, you should expecting some questions related to business operation, revenue model, okay, the go-to-market strategy, okay. And if someone you know with stronger technical background, so you better prepare well to answer some technical questions. Yeah, that would make a big difference. Yeah, that's I would like to share before we answer the question. If you would like to discuss more, we can discuss later in the Q&A. So Belinda, how do we answer the question?
So Teddy,
Are you going to
I got a lot of questions from people when they signed up, but I also got some questions now from people who are dialed in today. One, for example, from Kenneth, he's asking, for companies that are focused on social impact, how do we showcase the purpose in a pitch while also balancing profit?
If you are working on the social project, the first thing is that what kind of problem you're going to solve. Why is the solution is different from others? What is the difference? What's the differentiation? Don't talk about the making profit part. Okay, left that behind. Because your nature is a social enterprise, supposedly people expecting you to solve some social problem in the first place. Okay, if as long as you're solving some problem, the commercial value will come, no matter in what format. I can take one example, like Taobao. It's the number one online marketplace in mainland China. We don't charge our merchants if they're selling products on our platform. Up to now, after 15 years, we don't charge our merchants when they're selling products on our platform. Can you imagine that? Yeah, but if they want to promote their company, their products, yeah, they can choose to spend some money on advertising. Okay, and that's the revenue model for our platform. But we believe that you're making the right thing first. Okay, if you are creating some value, there are always some revenue model can make your project profitable. Yeah.
Thank you. And let's jump right into the topic around finances. There's a few questions that people submitted beforehand. So people were asking, do you include a company valuation always? And if you do so, how do you work it out if you've not done it before?
You mean the valuation, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's always a tough part of investment. Yeah, a valuation especially for startups could be very difficult. Yeah, unpredictable, and usually we base not just up to the investment manager to make a decision on what sort of valuation we should endorse. Okay, but most of the time we will base on some professionals outside of the startup community, and like lawyer, accountant. For example, for those biotech or AI projects, we will invite some scientists to help us to make the judgment. Okay, and of course we count on their previous knowledge and also experience to make a judgment on the valuation. Yeah, of course we know all staff, all the founders have a number in their mind. Yeah, but the challenge part is that we need to align between the investor and the founders. Yeah, and of course, valuation may be also based on many different parts, like based on the team, on the potential size of the opportunities, and also the competition environment. Okay, but one word I should say, if you don't have traction, okay, you don't have enough track record to help the investor to make the decision on the valuation, then you should try to provide a forecast, the business forecast, revenue forecast. Okay, of course, you need to convince those investors believe that your forecast is reasonable. Okay, because for us, we have a lot of resources. We can verify because there's always similar project in the markets. We can take those projects as a benchmark to compare with yours. And yeah, and so I think the execution plan, and the revenue and the financial focus can also help us to decide the valuation. Yeah, but one thing you need to remember that no valuation is permanent, and no valuation is straightforward. It's very complicated things and always keep changing. Yeah, I would say usually it's a result of negotiation between the startup founders and the investors. Yeah.
Thank you. And around financial projections, I also have a question. So people are like, do you have any tips on financial projections in pitch decks?
First of all, don't make it too complex, just straightforward. And as Belinda just mentioned in the previous slides, you need to come with some data. Okay, if there's any other similar model business outside in the market, so you can bring those data as a benchmark to support your financial plan or your financial focus. And also, you need to be very transparent about how you expand your money. How do you spend your money, and how do you allocate your resources, include capital, okay, currently and your plan in the future, right? And for investor, we try to understand how do you execute your plan, and how do you allocate your resources to support your business growth. That is the key. Okay, we don't mind if you are showing us that you are not making profit. Okay, we are VC, we are not PE investors. We are VC investors. We are investing in the future, your future potential. Okay, so just get it straight, transparent. That would be great. Just show us the reality. Yeah. And if we think that your business is a potential one, we will give you advice and how can you adjust or improve your financial plan.
Thank you. You mentioned traction before, and I have a question around what is the most important element for a startup that actually does not have traction?
Okay, and that means you only have a story. Okay, and that's all about storytelling. Yeah, you are trying to convince people to believe in your dream. Okay, yeah, I would say it's not impossible, but it's very difficult and challenging to convince an investor to believe in something. If you don't have prototype, if you don't have any proven record, it's very difficult because nowadays most of the investors are more data driven. Okay, we look into data. Okay, even you are losing money, but you're telling us that how fast your business growth. Okay, and how fast your user base is growth. That is good enough. Okay, yeah, but if you only have a dream or have a story, that will be quite challenging. Yeah.
I have an interesting question that you get probably asked quite a few times, or people sometimes have concern. Somebody was asking, how do you avoid oversharing or getting overexposed when pitching, which may potentially result in someone who has the resources to steal the idea and establish a business?
Yeah, there's usually two different scenarios, as you mentioned before. One is one-on-one, and that means you properly or believe that investor is the right investor, right potential investor for you. So if you decide to walk in that room, please make sure that you keep everything transparent. You share everything. If you have hesitation, don't go into that room and sit down with that investors. Okay, yeah, and that's my advice. And of course, if you try to present on stage publicly, most of the time is only have a 3 to 5 minutes, and you can present your business and your idea on stage. So you just present something high level. It's nothing new in this world, I would say. Yeah, sometimes the unique value and the tricks always in details, but within a few minutes, you can only high levelly introduce your idea, share your key elements with people, but not in very detailed way. Okay, so don't worry too much, and people cannot copy your model or products. Just listening to your presentation, that's impossible. Be honest, okay? And if this is the case, probably the entry barrier of your business is too low. Yeah. I would say that.
I agree. And it's even something that, when people come into hackathons where they're like, oh, nobody steals my idea. This is mine, mine, mine. But most of the ideas that people are trying to do, they've been done before, or other people are trying to do it around the world. So you're not that unique. And again, as Teddy said, if somebody is able to copy your whole company and all this, knowledge behind it in 3 minutes, then, they deserve to probably have like 10,000 more companies if it would be that easy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We also have question in the audience where somebody is asking, I'd like to ask, what would investors, if you pitch your company to investors, what if they're hesitant to accept the ideas because they're not comfortable with it? For example, this lady is selling reusable menstrual pads focused on periods.
Okay, can you repeat your question? Sorry, I missed part of it.
So I think generally speaking, so what if you are pitching ideas that you think that maybe investors are not that comfortable with, for example, female hygiene products like menstrual pads?
Yeah. First of all investors, what I just mentioned, what we really care is if we can find some great potential deal flows and projects for us to invest. Okay. And at the same time, you need to understand there's many different types of investors. Okay. Different investors have different mandates. Some of them will focusing on early stage. Okay. Some of them, they will come up with different ticket size of investment. They're focusing on different sectors. Yeah. But the key is you need to find the right investors. Okay. Who believe in your project, who are really interested in your project. Okay, there's always someone don't like your projects. Okay, and have different thoughts. It doesn't matter as long as you believe that is the right thing, the right project you believe in. Yeah, it's just a matter of time. You need to pitch, keep talking to different investors, and because not all the investors or all the capital investment will fit you. It doesn't matter they are wrong, they're stupid, they don't understand your idea. No, because different investors have different mandates, they have different ideas, different thoughts. Okay, so even you are refused by 100 of investors, there's still a few hundred behind that, right? So the problem is you need to find the right investors. Of course, it's a long process sometimes. Yeah.
It's like dating and being in a relationship. You don't want to be dating the wrong person. Same with, you don't want the wrong investor who does not get your product, or also who might be investing now and then along the lines, because the investor does not understand your product, you're going to have a lot of issues. So really see it as a two-way street where you also need to be happy, not just with the money, but also with the vision and mission of your investor.
Yeah, taking raw money could be a nightmare in the future.
Yeah, it's easier to get a divorce than to separate also from your investors or co-founders.
Yeah.
Is there anything else before we also go to more questions that I think you also want to share, Teddy, in terms of, I think at the moment also everybody is going on virtual pitching, like say pitching over Zoom, and it's less about like meeting people and investors in person. So do you have any tips on like, how to capture maybe your investors over Zoom, and also tips around like, online pitching?
To me, it's no difference. It's the same. When you pitch, I always remind my portfolio companies, the founder from my portfolio companies, if they are going to pitch other investors, okay, first of all, look into their eyes when you talk to them. Okay, yeah, it's part of human touching. You trying to convince someone to believe what you are doing. Okay, so you need to show you make sure that they feel you are sincere, right? Okay, and if Zoom and offline pitching or online pitching make no difference. Still the same thing. Practice. If you have girlfriend, boyfriend, just practice with them. If you don't, then practice with your dog or cat is the same. Yeah, practice is very critical. And the second thing I just mentioned is preparation. Yeah, and I find a lot of people, they are doing the pitching without any preparation. Okay, not just understand the market you are in or your products, but at the same time understand your audience, your target audience, especially when you talk to the investors. So I don't think there's any difference between offline and online pitching. Yeah.
Thank you. And I think also to add on that point, I think also be somewhat humble. Like nobody wants to have a know-it-all pitch it. So investors also want to see a person behind the pitch and the company.
Yeah, and actually, Zoom, you pitching through Zoom could be better because you can look at their facial expression closely. Okay, the expression telling you the answer or give you some hints. Yeah, I would say that's true. That's one of the tricks that can take the advantage of the pitching through the Zoom. Yeah.
Thank you. And also you can also have your notes on your screen on a second pop up, so you know that also is a bit of a cheat sheet. We have an interesting question from Jason. So he's asking, when it comes to the founder, what's more important to the investor, experience or qualifications?
All doesn't matter. Okay, I will repeat my the key elements we will look into. The first thing is the value proposition and uniqueness. The second thing is your products, your solution. Okay. The third thing is the growth potential, the market potential. Okay. The fourth thing is your team. Why you come from this team? Why the people come together to work on the same project? Why you guys have the same dream to work on? I think that is more important. Yeah. Experience. Yeah, that could be a bonus, but not a key element. Yeah. You will see a lot of great startups. They are not count on the founder's experience. Yeah. Or their educational background. No. Yeah. Yeah. That could be a bonus, but it's not a key element to me. Yeah.
Do you have any tips on how to handle really challenging Q&As?
Okay, it's all about preparation. Because if you are doing a pitch, that means you are standing on the stage. You're expecting people to ask you a question. If no one asks your question, that means no one interested in you. Okay, and always remember, every question helping you to improve your business idea and your business plan. Okay, if an investor asks you a question, that means they have some question about your stuff you just present, right? Or they have something different in their mind would like to share with you. So in this case, keep your eye open, keep your ear open, and listen to their question. And I would like to remind all the people who are going to pitch, don't argue. Okay, you can defend your idea, but never argue with investor. It's meaningless. Okay, you can win the fight, but it means nothing to you. Okay, but listen carefully. Maybe their idea is stupid. Maybe they don't understand your products. Then it's still helping you how you make it easier for them to understand your products in the future, right? So always keep your ears open, listen to them. Yeah. And don't argue with them. They will waste your time. And don't get emotional when you're talking to them. Yeah.
Don't burn any bridges. Yeah. It's a small world.
Yeah, no, because even myself, sometimes I'm really interested in one proposal. I will try to push them harder and see how is the founding team response. Yeah, as I mentioned, that team is also a key element. I would like to see how they react when they're facing some challenges. Yeah, that's very straightforward. I ask some very picky questions, pushing them to the corner and see how they respond. Yeah, that's the one way we try to evaluate team. Yeah.
So we talked a lot about, pitching and how it looks like doing a pitch. But can you tell us more about afterwards? What happens after you leave the investor? Like, what would you like to see, for example, from the companies that pitch to you?
Especially for those projects we are really interested, I expecting they will approach me proactively. Yeah, being more aggressive. Aggressiveness is very key element as a start founder. Okay, you need to push. Okay, you never know what are going to happen. But if you do nothing after pitching, that means you don't care about your business. Okay, follow up, always follow up, sending thank you looks, send email, push for another meeting, another conversation. Yeah, right? There's no extra cost. You just keep pushing. Okay, if they don't like it, they don't like it. Okay, what if they really want to hear more, right? So try to follow up after the pitching. Yeah.
Thank you. And okay, so do you have anything? So I just wanted to also open it up now. And if you have any questions, now's the time to drop them down. And yeah, let us know if you have any further questions. Let me also look through some more of the ones that we got. So I think a lot of them are really around, how can you build a good value proposition, or how can you differentiate yourself from your competition? Do you have some tips around that?
Actually, the founders should ask themselves what you are working on is really different from others. Is that in a good way or bad way? And what's the different valuation you're create the value you're creating? Okay, and it's hard for investor to say that. We can have a lot of benchmark to compare with other business models, but the one knows the business best should be the founder. Okay, and there's no tricks. If you cannot find the difference or differentiation, that means that there's some risk, because you may probably you are creating something similar to others, okay, and make no difference. Then why we need to invest in you? Okay, so I think this question is tricky. It's hard for investor to tell you. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's a chicken or egg, I think, also question, because the thing is, like, you're pitching something where you really want to make like the investor understand why you're unique. So if you're having issues really finding that uniqueness, it probably means you need to spend more time really pondering around your value proposition.
and I think you need to really know the market, the current market condition, and know if there's any competition in the market. Okay, because as an investor, we will know that very soon, because we have some information source that we can compare with other business very soon. If I know and you don't know, then why we need to invest in your business, right? So if there's any tricks, I would say you need to very focus on the market research, okay, and get prepared before you talk to the investor. Yeah.
Thank you. I think that oh, somebody's asking, can you share some really bad pitches that annoyed you the most? That's something that we actually started with before people were rolling in. But do you have, just to close it up, like something funny, like a really funny bad pitch with to share with us that annoyed you the most?
This my not my own computer. Yeah, and I'm not supposed to share those business to other people, because it's confidential. When they submit to us, it's
we don't need to hit a company, but I think more around, like, a common mistake that everybody always that people tend to make.
Yeah.
That's that.
It's very normal that if they submit a 20 slides deck, okay, probably they will use 10 slides to analyze the market, okay, and how big is the market, how good is the market, how bad is the market is totally not relevant to your business. From an investor, No, nothing to do with your business. You should tell us your product, your value first before you introduce the market or share the analysis with us about the market. Okay. And as I mentioned, every day we were going to review a lot of business proposal. And I can tell you most of the time we would just flip maybe top the first 5 slides. And we need to make a decision if we should spend another 10 minutes with the rest of the deck, right? So yeah, and some of them, yeah, they really love storytelling. And I have a slide proposal that I received 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. The founder trying to tell me a story, okay, and it's talking about more than 20 pages of A4 size of paper, and okay, no investor will spend that kind of money to that kind of time to look into those stories, right? And also, yeah, more picture is good, okay, but always remember that the picture is meaningful. What does it meaningful? Is helping the investor to understand your model, your products, or it's a very funny pictures can demonstrate or help to demonstrate your business idea conceptually. Okay. Otherwise, don't put too many pictures on your deck. Okay. If I saw over 80% of pictures, then probably I will skip. Yeah. Skip those decks. Yeah. And always good. And also one tip. If possible, you can that should come with 1 or 2 minutes video. Introduce yourself. Introduce your business. I think sometimes for those investors would like to know easier about your company without reading. Yeah. Yeah. Of course, if they allow you to submit that kind of video. Yeah.
Thank you. We're out of time. Okay. One last question is, do you have any specific advice for non-profit pitching that's not about future profit, but addressing larger social problems like climate change?
As I just answered another question previously, I think the key is why your solution? What is the difference? Because when you're talking about the climate problem, climate issue, there's a lot of solution already. So you still need to tell the people what difference you can bring to the world to solve this kind of problem. And what is the difference? Yeah, it's not very difficult to understand or for us to evaluate. Okay. And even the scientists, they know the potential solutions. And so the second thing, not just the solution, but how is your plan to execute your solution? The execution plan is also the key. Okay. No one expecting a social enterprise idea will bring the profits immediately, as I mentioned before. Yeah. But if you are really solving the problem, I think a lot of government, a lot of NGO will come to you and support your idea, include financial support, right? So don't worry about that, but you need to tell the difference and what is the impact you are creating to the world. Okay, that will be the key. Yeah, that will be the key.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Teddy, for taking your time today and chat to us about pitching.